Of a high-intensity explosion ripped through a slow-moving Hyundai i20 car. This happened at a traffic signal very close to the Red Fort metro station. It happened at 6:52 p.m. Monday evening. The Delhi Police, the National Investigation Agency, the National Security Guard, they're all coordinating this probe, which has now thrown up a link to a terror module that was recently busted in Faridabad. That happened just yesterday, early hours of the morning. Almost 3,000 kilograms of explosives, primarily ammonium nitrate, as well as other explosive material, was seized just hours before the Delhi blast happened later in the evening. The conspirators of this blast are 4 doctors, all linked to something called the Falah University in Haryana, where this terror plot appears to have been hatched. Even as the investigators are piecing together what their motive was, why they carried this out, who the co-conspirators are, the modus operandi and the scale of this network is slowly but surely unraveling. It has also become political. Prime Minister Modi, on an official visit to Bhutan today, vowed to avenge the death of 8 innocent people who died in the Red Fort blast that happened late last evening.
इस घटना की जांच में जुटी सभी एजेंसियों के साथ, सभी महत्वपूर्ण लोगों के साथ संपर्क में था, विचार विमर्श चलता था, जानकारियों के तार जोड़े जा रहे थे। हमारी एजेंसियां इस षड्यंत्र की तह तक जाएगी। इसके पीछे के षड्यंत्रकारियों को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। All those responsible will be brought to justice.
Meanwhile, government sources are telling CNN News 18 that it was the Union Home Minister Amit Shah who decided to hand over the investigation of the incident to the National Investigation Agency. The NIA was instructed to investigate and submit a report at the earliest. Remember, sections 16 and 18 of the UAPA, which deal with terrorist acts, have been invoked in this particular FIR as well. So now the NIA, the National Investigation Agency, which is the nodal agency to investigate terror attacks, has taken over the investigation. They will have to go to the depths of this and find out not only who the conspirators and the co-conspirators are, but if at all there was any cross-border linkages. I want to go across to Ankur Sharma, who has more details on this. Ankur, so what are the details that you have? Now it's officially a scheduled offence. It is section 16 and 18 of the UAPA, which deals with terrorist acts. What do we know so far as to how much the investigators know who carried out this and who their supporters and conspirators were?
Zaka, today Amit Shah took 2 meetings. One was with all the DGs, excluding Jammu and Kashmir DGP, and later in the afternoon he took another meeting with all the top officials, not only from the Delhi but FSLT director and chief director, and also the DGP of J&K, and other officials were also joined from through online. Importantly, the Union Home Minister has clearly stated that, and I quote him, instructed them to hunt down each and every culprit behind this incident. After that, according to the sources, the Home Minister in the meeting has instructed FSL to collect all the specimens from the spot and investigate it and file a detailed report as soon as possible. And also, he has instructed FSL to collect body samples from the bodies of which were in the car that exploded. So importantly, here the bodies, there were multiple. It is expecting that multiple 2 or 3 people were there inside the car which exploded. So certainly now the NIA will be investigating the case. The case has already been transferred to NIA. And so far, the details which we have gathered is that the route is almost clear, that it started from Faridabad around 7:15 a.m. in the morning, and finally it exploded. The car exploded near metro station in North Delhi, close to Chandni Chowk, around 6:52. And they know, aware about the route. Importantly, there is another theory which is basically the courier theory. This is new update which we have gathered, that there is a possibility that these people were trying to take this consignment to some place, because there is no clear basically place where they actually place the explosives. The car was slowly moving towards they were trying to cross the red light, which we shown earlier also. Importantly, previous bomb blast cases, either car was parked somewhere, or like Pulwama, what happened in Pulwama, there the Fidayeen just crashed the car with the CRPF bus.
Convoy, yeah.
So unlike those incidents, in this incident, nothing such thing has happened. So there is another theory that the car occupants and the driver may be the courier for the
So that is
for
again
these
a
explosives.
working possibility that the investigators are looking at. Ankur, thanks for that. Shivani Gupta is also joining us live from the Red Fort. Anshul Singh is also joining us. He's been tracking this for the last 2 days now, ever since the bust-up that happened in Faridabad. But Shivani, first to you. The focus clearly seems to be on these 4 doctors and their connection to this college that happens to be in Haryana. Their association seems to be centered around that college. But the mind really boggles as to why such well-qualified, well-educated folks would turn to this kind of a dastardly terror act for whatever their motivations are. What do we know about these 4 individuals?
Yes. That is indeed the biggest story that we are tracking. The backgrounds of these doctors has been traced to Kashmir. Now, of course, radicalization and terrorism has been a concern from the valley, but we have seen that the valley and even Kashmiris have been trying to slowly move on from those dark days, and there's been relative peace in the valley, barring some of the prominent attacks that have taken place, and in the rest of the country. Now, since 2011, we haven't seen a blast of this nature in the national capital, and that has certainly sent shockwaves across the country, because these individuals, these doctors, Dr. Adil, Dr. Muzammil, Dr. Umar, who's suspected to be in the car that blew up, and Dr. Shaheen, the female doctor, their link to them is coming from Anantnag or from Pulwama in Kashmir. Many of them worked in the Anantnag Medical College, Government Medical College, and the local cleric there, a cleric named Maulvi Irfan, his name is emerging as possibly the point person who was in touch with handlers in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and was radicalizing these medical students. These would have been medical students earlier in life, and they have become doctors since. But just the sheer amount of the explosives that have been recovered, 2.9 tons of explosive from the likes of Dr. Adil and Dr. Muzammil, boggles the mind. Also, the fact that there was clearly a plan to have serial blasts, possibly of the kind we haven't seen in over a decade and more in India, and do it at multiple places. What we're also learning is that there is a Jaish link that is coming to light, because it all unraveled after those posters that were found by the local police in Naugam in Kashmir. SHO Naugam and also one of the SSP in Srinagar, they found it curious that after many years, these posters threatening locals from cooperating with investigative agencies had come up. They tracked the CCTVs, they led to OGWs, to this cleric Irfan, and subsequently to these doctors. But yes, this has certainly pegged back the faith that people would have had both in the doctor community and certainly from members of the Kashmiri community.
I also want to go across to Anshul Singh. The other common factor seems to be this college in Haryana, and Falah College. I believe it's a private institution. You were there today, spending some time there. What do we know about this institute? Who are the people who run it? And how did they not know what these doctors were up to?
Well, it is still not clear that if at all the administration actually did not know that something like this was actually brewing up inside their university itself, because even as today, at least 6 people from the Al-Falah University have been taken into custody for the purposes of questioning by the Faridabad police. Out of them, one is an HR of this university, and that HR who goes by the name Jameel has been working over here for the longest of time. Remember, this entire university became a university in the year 2014 itself, and probably one of the first employees of that university was HR Jameel. And it is being said that over the last few years there has been a significant spike in the number of Kashmiris that have been enrolled into this college, either as students or as educators. Now remember, all 3 people whose name have come out, all these 3 white collar terrorists whose name have come out, have a clear link with Jamil, as well as Jamil was the person who initially brought in Umar approximately 7 years ago into the Al Falah University, where he was appointed as a associate professor. The second accused, Muzammil, was brought over here approximately 3 years ago, and he was a senior resident over here. Whereas the third person, the woman doctor Shaina, she also joined the university approximately 2.5 years ago, and she was specifically tasked, is what the intelligence sources have told CNN News 18, is that she was tasked to actually go ahead and try to brainwash more women into following the path of the so-called fight for jihad. So this is how they were operating over here. The administration has still not been let go of. No clean sheet has been given to the administration even at this point. The investigators are still trying to find out if at all there are more people who are a part of the university as well, and who could have been the part of this entire Nexus as well. Because remember, the recoveries that has happened, the 360 kgs of ammonium nitrate that has been recovered just 300 meters away from the gates of the Al Falah University, whereas the 2563 kgs of ammonium nitrate that was seized yesterday, that is also just 4 kilometers away. And interestingly, the place from where it has been seized actually belongs to an imam. That imam yet again works inside the Al Falah University, and is one of the person who actually is the head of the mosque over there as well. So there is a large nexus that has already come out from Al Falah University. It remains to be seen if at all the person who blew himself in front of the Red Fort, whether it was Dr. Umar or not, because that is one piece of information. That one DNA test is going to be so crucial, because that DNA test will tie the blast outside the Red Fort to Al Falah University.
Anshul, Shivani and Ankur, thank you for joining us. So we're now able to piece together the individuals who are involved in this, the conspirators, the co-conspirators, what their motivations were. The pieces of the puzzle seem to be falling in place. I want to go across to Kiran Bedi, former IPS officer, former Lieutenant Governor of Pondicherry, N.K. Sood is former RNAW officer as well. He's also joining us. Ma'am, let me start with you first. You know, one of our correspondents also touched upon this point. Now, either this particular person, this Umar Nabi, who was the person who was believed to be inside the car and blew himself up outside Red Fort, had this panic attack sort of situation where there was this Faridabad module that was busted early in the morning. He got wind of it. He escaped from there. There's CCTV footage showing him leaving Faridabad and entering Delhi through the Badarpur border about 7:15, 7:30 in the morning yesterday. And then for about 7 hours, he's traversed through large parts of Delhi, going eventually to Old Delhi, and then parking himself inside this parking lot from about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon till about 6:30. And then a little quarter to 7, the car is seen coming out of that parking lot, and within few minutes, the blast happens. Do you believe that this whole thing was a panic attack, or do you think he orchestrated this, waited in that parking lot, waited knowing that there will be peak evening hour, people going back home, you know, businesses closing down, etc. There will be peak rush hour in the evening, and chose to do this?
If it was waiting for a peak hour, then there were many other better places, more traffic places. If there were peak hours, he could have driven into Chandni Chowk.
Yeah.
Rather than the Red Fort signal, I think he was waiting I think he's on the move. He's only stopping at the signal for some time. I think if he's looking for congestion, there are many more better congestion places. And driving into Chandni Chowk would have been a bigger mayhem. Because Chandni Chowk, you can't even a rickshaw can't go in. So if he had driven into the Chandni Chowk, then he would have, and then there were many other spiritual, religious places as well. So I think he was carrying it. He was driving through. He had something to deliver to some cell somewhere. I think they were waking up sleeper cells. And he was leading that team. And number two, if it's suicide, why would they be 1 + 2? You mean to say all three decided? All three decided, or all two decided? There's always one. He's not one. I believe he's not one. He's got more than one.
There are co-conspirators. From whatever information that we have so far, we only know of one person inside the car, at the time that the blast happened. So far, at least. We don't know of more people inside the car at the time that the blast
But
happened.
why would he wait? Why should he wait?
Yeah.
I think
Fair question.
that is very difficult. And then he's carrying, in number 4, he's leaving behind tons of ammunition, tons. He's only taken a bit of it. So I think they were waking up sleeper cells somewhere down the line, maybe Northwest Delhi or elsewhere, to be used. Now, which for whoever, I think that only investigation will tell.
The other curious thing has also been, ma'am, that, you know, generally when we've seen such suicide attacks or such terrorist attacks in the past, there's always some degree of shrapnel or wires and batteries and detonators, other material that the investigators are able to find and piece together, you know, how the explosion happened. In this case, so far at least, it's been over 24 hours, we've not got any information of these other materials that have been found. It's just this ammonium nitrate, which seems to have hit some kind of a fuel switch and then blasted the way it did last evening. What does that tell you?
Well, I do not know that, but it could be a new form of mixture. It could be a new style, new mixture, new contraption. So I think it's probably a new style, like this new style. Why are we calling it the white collar crime? Because here are educated people. I think it's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of money trails. It's an ecosystem to be demolished. I feel that we have saved ourselves because of this exposure. All the tons, 2.9 tons, which was supposed to be spread out all over the country to wake up sleeper cells, to my mind, I think we have saved ourselves from that.
But before I go to Mr. Sood, I want one final word from you, Ms. Bedi. You know, the thing that you touched upon, the idea that somehow terrorism was carried out by people who were impoverished, aggrieved, who were not necessarily from affluent sections of society, or certainly not well-educated like these folks were, that whole myth stands busted. How do you see that?
Exactly. Now they've looked for another kind, which is the intelligent, the professional, being radicalized, and then getting a lot of money. So I think there'll be a huge money trail behind this, which can expose the entire network. So there's a very big ecosystem network dealing also with money trails. Nobody's taken responsibility for this. So far, nobody, because there are scares for that. If they do, then there will be national repercussions. So I think there are insiders who are waking up sleeper cells with ammunition and with money.
Okay, Kiran Bedi, thanks for joining us. Thank you very much for your thoughts and perspective. I'll get a word in from Mr. Sood as well. Mr. Sood, again, the critical question that's being asked is, we do know the sequence of events. There was this big racket in Faridabad that was busted up in the early hours yesterday. Right after which, around 7:15 or so, we can see this car moving into the Delhi region, moving into Delhi city proper, moving in from Faridabad, from Haryana through the Badarpur border. It's clear that he was carrying a part of the consignment or part of the explosives that were already, you know, there in the Faridabad warehouse or there, in the house that they were staying in. And somehow, either the others sort of tipped this Umar off, or he got word of it somehow and he managed to escape. The question though is, it comes down to, have we found the accomplices? Have we found all the members of this ring? Or as Ms. Bedi suggested a moment ago, this could be part of a much wider sleeper cell and there could be other members who will now possibly, you know, as she said it, quote unquote.
Yes, sure. We will find some other people also. And I tell you one thing, that I think this was plan B. When the plan A failed, after Dr. Adil Ahmed Radar, he was caught. So I think they got the news, you know. And when we caught hold of this man in Faridabad, then they realized that their plan has failed. Especially, you know, a lot of other things happened. Gujarat ATS also caught a person connected with this. So they started plan B. And this man Adil took some, Nabi took some, Adil, I think,
Nabi.
He took some consignment, and he was planning to do something, but I think his plan was to target the people when there was rushes there. If you see Chandni Chowk, if you see this Red Fort area, around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, there is a lot of rush. So his plan was deliberate. He deliberately exploded this ammunition that he was having. And if you talk of the things, you know, they were this. It is very easy to gather this chemical, you know. which is used as in the for this
Terror bomb blast, yeah.
For bomb blast, because I think one more thing is there, that behind all this there is a definite hand of the Pakistan ISI, because Azhar Mahmood, Jaish-e-Mohammed's chief, his whole family was, I think 10 members of his family was destroyed during Operation Sindoor,
Yeah.
So he had also raised a women's force, He has raised a women's force. His sister's husband had also died in that blast, in that attack. His sister Sadia Azhar, she was made chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed's women wing, Jamaatul Momin. And this lady has also been activated, the lady with the burqa who has also been involved in this operation, So this is a definitely plan of the Pakistan ISI and the plan of
But I want to press on that point before I come to our political guests. If this is indeed the handiwork of the Jaish, what does India then need to do? Because the last time that happened in Pahalgam, it was clear what India did. It's there for all to see. This time, how does India respond?
They will give the same response. You must see the statement of PM Modi, what he has said. The perpetrators of this crime will be punished, and we punish them, naturally. There is no going back.
Okay.
There is no,
Okay, Mr. N.K. Sood, from former officer with the RNAW. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's open this up politically as well. Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of the BJP, is here in our studios. Kapil Madan, lawyer and political analyst, also joining us. Pradeep, the first question is, we had Pahalgam 6 months ago, and the government, the BJP, everyone said, Pakistan has been given a befitting reply, Operation Sindoor, we've wiped out over 100 terrorists. But the problem of terrorism has not gone away. What we had yesterday is almost like a repeat of what we've been seeing for many years now.
Well, Zaka, I believe that the investigative agencies have foiled a major terror bid, because more than 2,800 kgs of RDX was seized, and the attempt was to plan something extremely sinister. I do agree with you that it is a matter of investigation, how did the RDX reach there, but at the same time you need to acknowledge the fact that if those Dahshatgards and the terrorists would have achieved their objective of 2,800 kgs of RDX that they had, they could have planned something very sinister against the unity and integrity of the country.
No, but Pradeep, the point is, this was the same thing that happened in Pahalgam, right? And India's response, rightfully so, was to go inside and hit Pakistan, hit it hard, hit it deep, and we had 4 days of Operation Sindoor. The question is, can we keep doing this every 6 months, every year? Well, what is the guarantee that Pakistan is going to learn a lesson? It clearly hasn't from Sindoor 1.0.
Well, Zaka, the intent of the government is to break the back of terror. The war against terror is an ongoing war. So if you look at the policy of our government and compare it to vis-a-vis the earlier government with which Mr. Madan is, that they did not attack or did not increase the transaction cost. So in the ladder, we always increase the transaction cost for our enemy and ensure that the enemy is given a disproportionate response. Even in this case, the Honorable Prime Minister and the Home Minister, through their intent, have assured that the key conspirators will be punished, and let us acknowledge it, that the war against terror is not a full stop. It is a war which has a comma, it will have a semicolon, but the intent of our investigative agencies and our government is clear that we will go to the root of terror, whether it emanates from Pakistan or any other part of the world.
So, Kapil Madan, Operation Sindoor has not ended, it has not concluded, it has only been paused, and it is up to the government, if indeed there is definitive proof that this was orchestrated by Jaish-e-Mohammed or any Pakistan-based terror group, then it is up to the government to resume Operation Sindoor. And everyone from the Prime Minister, Home Minister, Defence Minister, everyone has said that if Pakistan is up to its bad ways again, then they will be further taught a befitting lesson.
Zaka, I heard my good friend Pradeep here, and with utmost responsibility and humility at my command, I must say that, his remarks were half facts and full fiction. And let me give you very, very categorical reasons why I say so. You must recall when Operation Sindoor happened, our Honorable Prime Minister and all the government made official notifications that if tomorrow there is any terror attack, we will take it as an act of war. It has been almost 24 hours. We haven't heard back from the Prime Minister whether the government is actually treating this as an act of war or it is only a rhetoric that was made, which is their usual course of being. But let's keep the politics aside. I am rather more concerned about how and in the manner wherein we are seeking an accountability. We saw in Pahalgam how our brothers were mercilessly killed, and it's not even 6 months and we have a situation like this where an RDX of so I believe it was some 3000 kgs or something. How could it enter in the NCR? Who is to be held accountable? Now it is one thing to say that you have caught the RDX, but at the same time, who takes the accountability? Because if this particular act of terror that has happened in Delhi, if it is somewhere connected with Faridabad, which initial reports suggest, now isn't it a miss that that one person could sneak out and could do that?
Okay.
My third point is.
No, that's a fair point. One second,
Hold
Kapil.
on, it's the most important point.
Okay,
Zaka,
most
just
important point.
I'll check 20 seconds. Now, other thing, once you have foiled and arrested people with this amount of an RDX, would you not sound high alerts to people? Would you not alert your general public to remain cautious, to remain inside? It used to happen earlier, but we never saw an alert coming from any of the authority. It is only after the Delhi blast I could see some notification in the media which says...
Okay, fair point. No, I just want, for the benefit of our viewers, both Pradeep and Kapil said this, it was 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate.
Yes.
Not RDX, 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate. But the point that Kapil Madan has been making, Pradeep, I mean, in Pahalgam also the opposition asked the same question, isn't it an intelligence lapse, isn't it a security failure? Here again they're asking the same question, which I think is a valid question, because ultimately there has to be some amount of accountability. If in the morning you are able to bust up this racket in Faridabad and confiscate 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate, why were you then not able to stop a terror attack that happened a good 10 hours later? That's a failure.
Well, Zaka, you and I both know that if 2,900 kgs of ammonium nitrate explosive would have detonated, the outcome would have been catastrophic. And the investigative agencies, if you look at it, go a day earlier, whether it is on November 9, when in Gujarat there was a racket which was busted, or on October 28th, where in Maharashtra there was a digital recruitment racket which was busted. Let us all acknowledge that we are on war against terror, and we are not a government which believes in succumbing to vote bank. This is why we acknowledge and give a befitting reply, and it's a matter of investigation which you pointed. But the intent of the Congress party here I want to question, because the Congress party today said, and I quote the Congress leader, that the blast in Delhi has happened because the government wants to distract attention from Delhi pollution and wants to do booth capturing in Bihar. Now, if you have this opposition, where this is the Congress leader Anuma Acharya, who's very close to the Rahul Gandhi, if this is the intent of the Congress party, then I believe that the investigative agency should not waste their time either answering Congress or any other question. Their job is to uncover this and go to the detail of it. Just 10 seconds, Zaka. Zaka, Shaheen terrorist has been arrested, Muzammil has been arrested, Adil has been arrested, Mohiuddin has been arrested, and Umar has been identified. So if you look at it, this has all happened in less than 24 hours. Prime Minister has already issued a statement. He was asking why a public cautionary is not been issued, because we do not want to create a panic like it was the case of Congress, and we are better than the Congress or the earlier government where the Home Minister was only busy changing his dress. Here in less than an hour, the Home Minister was at the spot. So have faith. Our intent is to fight terror. Our intent is not to succumb to vote bank.
Kapil Madan, you have needlessly politicized an issue on which, there should be no political divide in this country. Everybody should be on the side of common sense, which is that you have to take on terror. There are no ifs and buts there. And anybody who's trying to be politically correct or trying to instill conspiracy theories, as Pradeep has just suggested that one of the Congress leaders did, you're actually doing a great disservice to the country.
No, Zaka, let me just clarify here by, asking question. I don't politicize. What I am trying to do here is I am trying to just ensure that we are not paralyzed. Asking question is not a policy. If there is a failure, if something has happened, 13 people have lost their life, and there were reports that they were not even given ambulance. Now, what do you expect? Don't you expect that the citizens will be asking legitimate questions that, who is responsible, who was accountable, whether it was a lapse, whether it was a negligence, if, these kind of people could, do something so ghastly like this. Someone needs to be held accountable. Now, I'll also draw your viewers' kind attention when 2008 Bombay happened. The Honorable Prime Minister did a press conference from Mumbai outside Taj. At that point in time, nobody asked the Prime Minister, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, that you're trying to politicize. It is your legitimate right to ask question. It is your legitimate right to ask accountability, and that's what we've been doing.
So Pradeep,
And
asking
if
questions,
there are
asking for
repeated-
accountability.
If there
I
are
mean,
repeated, if there are
2,900
repeated
kilograms
incidents like
of
this,
ammonium nitrate is a lot. How did that come into Haryana? How did that come into Faridabad? And none of the authorities seem to have a clue about it.
Well, I believe that Zaka, the authorities will do a detailed press conference and answer all your questions. And it's a very legitimate question. I do not deny that, and we will definitely answer that. But my question here is the following. At the time of 26/11, let me quote Shri L.K. Advani on 28/11/2008. I continue to hope that the government will take decisive action against terror. There should be zero tolerance against terror. We stand with the Prime Minister in this matter. So we always stood with the government at that time. But despite that, if the Congress government did not attack Pakistan, what can we do? Here we are acknowledging that we are not Sonia Gandhi who will cry for Batla House. We are not Rahul Gandhi who will say that we cannot stop every terrorist attack. This is Modi government. This will go after terrorists and terror backers. And I acknowledge this, that I believe that 2,800 kgs of RDX uncovered by our agency is a huge job. But your question is definitely legitimate and the agencies will answer. But the Congress party should not sermon us, because I question their intent. It was 2005 serial blast case in Delhi, 2008 serial blast case in Karol Bagh, India Gate. Congress never acted. Here we are acting, not just acting, we are disproportionately acting against terror.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Let's see if the investigating agencies get to the bottom of it, and whoever the masterminds were, the conspirators, co-conspirators, they've all been identified. Some of them have been apprehended. One of them allegedly died yesterday, the suicide bomber. But the masterminds, are they here? Are they across the border in Pakistan? And if they have been identified, and if they do get to the bottom of it, then I think decisive action needs to be taken. It's like the bare minimum that the Modi government has set in terms of expectations, the public's expectations when it comes to how to respond to terror. But